22 years ago, I made a decision that changed my entire life. And the interesting thing is that I had absolutely no idea what was going to happen after I made that decision. I didn't have the certainty of having every step figured out. I didn't know who I was going to meet or what was going to happen or how it was going to look on the other side. I only knew that I didn't want to spend the rest of my life surviving. So today I'm going to share with you a little bit about my story about how I became a hypnotist 22 years ago, what my life was like before that, and what it's been like after, and how really one decision can change everything. So if you've been waffling, wavering on a decision, let this be a message to you to make a decision. Okay, first things first, I want to share with you how I felt emotionally before I became a hypnotist. I was angry, anxious Rebecca, and many of my clients know this because I talk about it with them, because I understand how hard it was, how difficult it was before, and trying to give yourself some space and give yourself some grace to figure out that there is something on the other side of all of that anger, on the other side of all of that anxiety that can make your life actually feel incredible compared to what it was. I was wanting more from life. I was sitting in this place feeling stuck. And a lot of the people have come to me, even though their lives are really great, really wonderful. They look really great from the outside. There's still a sense of feeling stuck in some way inside. And I can definitely relate to that. I was very stuck in my life. I was walking around with this anxious, angry resentment in my body that didn't come from the present moment. I know we've talked about this a million times, right? It wasn't coming from the present moment. It was coming from an accumulation of things that had happened in the past that I hadn't resolved, because I didn't know we needed to resolve things, because I didn't know how to resolve things. Even if I had known that things could change, I didn't know how to do it. And I had figured out at that point that maybe everybody just feels this way, and this is just the way life is, and this is the way I'm going to live for the rest of my life, so I may as well get used to it. And I was working in a job that I didn't particularly love, and I was afraid to leave it because of that every other week paycheck. I didn't know what was possible for me. I had been going to college, getting a degree, starting grad school, and an idea was presented to me about hypnosis, and I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know anything other than the stage hypnosis kind of things that people did. But what I recognized was when my friend said to me, "You could help a lot of people with this." This is a shout out to my friend Jordan, who said to me, I think you could help a lot of people with this. That sparked something inside of me, because my education was all about wanting to help people, wanting to help them break free of old stories and old ways of being. And I didn't know it was possible on this level. And I'm going to get to that in a moment, okay? One thing about this is that I did not feel ready. I did not feel even responsible for this decision. Of course, this was 22 years ago, mind you. And so my friend had told me, "Hey, I think you could help a lot of people. What do you think about going to these classes?" And I said, "Perfect. You want to go to these classes with me? You find us a teacher and I'll go with you." Isn't that just classic avoidance, right? I'm not even going to take responsibility for finding the teacher. You do that. You go ahead and make sure you find us a great teacher, and then I'll go. So we got all signed up for the classes. Little did I know that I was the only one who signed up for the classes, and then my friend ditched me. He didn't want to go. It was not for him. It was for me. And when I really dove into all the work that we were doing, something inside of me shifted. Oh my gosh, there is a whole new life possible for me on the other side of this. I will have freedom because I was already an entrepreneur and loved the idea of having my own business, taking care of my clients, taking care of the things that I wanted to do, and also being in charge of my paycheck. I loved that idea. And because frankly, I was just surviving at that every other week paycheck level anyway. And when I went into these classes and I started to learn what was possible, how things could change, and how hypnosis can help so many different things shift inside of people, I was passionate about helping people with hypnosis. I just knew that something inside of me, that this was for me. So even though I didn't like my job very much, but I loved my coworker who brought in this idea to work one day and said this really cool thing to me and said I could help a lot of people, something made me listen to that inner voice, right? And you have that too. You have that inner voice that is telling you, okay, there's a next step for this. Maybe this is the next step. Maybe you're thinking about taking a step in a completely different direction, and something inside of you is leading you forward. I'm here to tell you that you can trust that. You can trust that there's a next step for you. If you've been feeling there's one there, trust that it's there, even if you can't see it, even if you can't see how everything is going to turn out. So what happened for me in the training was completely unexpected. I walked in thinking, oh, I'm going to use this to help other people, right? I did not expect at all. I had no idea, in fact, that I would leave that training, that in-person training, having zero anxiety and having released the root of the anxiety and having released the root of the anger that I was feeling, that resentment that I was carrying around. Yeah, I thought this was going to be another thing that I was going to do and learn for other people. And it impacted me on such a powerful level that I felt lighter and freer than I had ever felt before in my life. I know, take that in. It's such a powerful feeling. It's such a wonderful feeling to feel light and free. And I hadn't been feeling that because I was carrying this anger that I didn't really know where it came from. I discovered right where the source was during the training. And I didn't understand where this anxiety, this fear of going places without a partner, fear of walking into a party by myself, fear of showing up to something and being the only one there that couldn't find their way or something like that. It didn't make sense at all for me that I was having these fears, but they were gone. They were gone in a matter of sessions during training. And that tightness that I've been carrying on my chest and that frustration, that heat that had been around my heart and in my stomach was gone. So I came out and I was so excited to set up my business and to help people. And my very first client, we helped her stop the panic attacks that she was having in the very first session. And then over the sessions that remained, we released the root of the anxiety that she had been carrying that was feeding those panic attacks. The things that can be changed with hypnosis are incredible. And I want to get into a list of that. I won't. But you know where you can reach me to talk about. If you feel like there's something that you have been wanting to shift that you haven't been able to, I want you to find the button where it says that you can reach out to me for a private conversation and do it, because your whole life can change. Okay, so back to this powerful decision that changed everything, okay? Everything good in my life that I have right now came from this decision. The very best friends that I have right now, most of them came as a result of starting my own business and meeting other entrepreneurs and other business owners. And then meeting people through those people have become my closest and dearest friends. The people that I have in my life And the places that I have gone and the things that I have done as a result of that decision have brought me to this wonderful place in my life where now I have been married to my dream partner, the love of my life. We've been together for 13 years, and I would not have met him if I had not gone to hypnosis training and healed my gunk, because I met him in a dive bar and we became friends, and a few months later we started dating. I would not have met him. I would not have had the courage to speak back to him. I would not have had the courage to feel worthy of that kind of loving relationship. I would not have felt worthy of creating powerful vision with him, to create a powerful partnership with him. I would not have had any of that had I not done this training. Because the hypnosis that I did then and what I did after and everything that I've learned since has influenced my relationship and our journey together. One decision can change everything. It is an extraordinary thing to believe that, and it's an extraordinary thing to live it. Here's what happened to me next after I became a hypnotist. I started living my life instead of just surviving. There was a period of time where I was doing both things. I was doing my corporate job during the day, and in the afternoons and evenings, I was taking on hypnosis clients, and I loved it. And when I was able to leave my job, and I was able to move into just having a hypnosis business all on its own. That was the only thing that I was focusing on. Something really powerful happened. The freedom in myself, the freedom in my decisions, and the recognition that I could create the kind of life that I actually wanted. I could set the rules. I could create the vision. I could decide what it was that I wanted. Opened up my life in countless ways. I realized that I really loved working with women, although I've worked with many wonderful men throughout my career and still do from time to time. I love supporting women, working on their vision and releasing the anxiety, the anger, the frustration, the gunk, and even helping them to find relief from chronic physical issues so that they can live the life that they want to, and so they can care for their families the way they want to, so they can care for their clients the way they want to, so they can care for their children and grandchildren the way that they want to. These women that I have worked with over these past 22 years, and the number, I don't even know what the number is now, it's over 2,000, have been able to change their lives in miraculous ways. They've been able to make their lives better. The life that was already good just got even better by releasing the root of this pain that they had been carrying, this emotional pain. And they release themselves from panic. They release themselves from overthinking. They release themselves from the idea that they couldn't feel their emotions or they would fall apart. They released old stories of unworthiness. And I've worked with many women who have been very successful. Their lives have been very beautiful on the outside, but they felt that stuckness, that anger, frustration, resentment, fear, doubt, panic, anxiety on the inside. We've been able to release that. And I've been able to help many women who have been on the path for wanting to create more abundance in their life. Financial abundance, love, health, success, more opportunities, but their body tightens around the idea. I've been able to help them work with their subconscious mind so that they can create the life they want, so that they can stop it from standing in the way of everything that they want. all these things I didn't even know existed. I didn't know any of this was possible, even when I was starting to do my training. And here I am all these years later, looking back and enjoying all the things that I've helped people to create, that we've created together. Because the most important thing about all of these people that I've worked with is they had all that they needed inside of them to create the change. They just needed a guide to help them get there. It's kind of like trying to get unstuck when you're in the mud. Say, for example, you're in your vehicle and you get stuck in a rut and you just keep pushing and pushing and the rut gets deeper and deeper. It's really hard to get out of the mud when you're stuck in the mud. But when you have a helper, someone to help you move out of it, help you to see where the track actually was, or help you to see where the new road is, or the new pathway, or the old story, and to be loving and honest with you, and to say things to you that other people won't say to you, not to call you out, but to call you forward. You get out of that rut quickly, you get out of that pathway so much faster, and you get back on solid ground and build a powerful foundation from there. You have everything you need inside of you. Once you learn to work with what you have inside of you, everything becomes so much easier. So as I'm looking back and I'm thinking about all of these people, I might get a little emotional here because it's been such a joy, such an honor to be part of people's stories and to be part of their journeys. And trust is my love language. So when someone trusts me, I will hold their stories. I will hold space for them to do the work, to make the shifts, to believe in themselves in a way they haven't before, so that they can create the life that they want. If you've seen my materials out in the world, my websites or advertising or anything like that, you've probably seen something about trust being so important, and that I believe their stories. I believe the things that they tell me. And in some cases, in many cases, there haven't been people in their lives who believed it, who hadn't believed the stories, hadn't believed the things they've been through. So they didn't know how to resolve them because no one was on their side who believed them. And so this decision that I made 22 years ago has helped me to help people believe in themselves again, to believe in them and to feel like someone was actually listening to them and honoring, validating where they had been, and also helping them to connect to where they want to go. It's a really beautiful, wonderful place of honor that I have been able to be in during this career. And I ain't done yet. There's a lot more that you're going to see coming from me. But I wanted to share the power of that decision has made such an incredible ripple. Your desire for more is not a random thing. Your desire to create a next level, even if you've done a ton of stuff already, even if there's something inside of you that wants to move you in a totally new direction, you have a calling for it, that is not random. It deserves to be explored. And you may have invested a whole lot in another direction that you've already been in and already working in, financially, energetically, that you may have had a lot of people helping you to get where you are right now and still feel a pull to do something else. And that's okay, because life is meant to be experienced. These decisions are meant to be explored. So if you've been feeling something inside of you like you need to explore it, allow yourself to at least give it some space, give it some energy and attention to see if it might be the next best thing for you that changes everything. The other thing I want you to know is that the woman that you want to be, the next level of who you want to be, because you're listening to this because you're a woman of growth. You're a woman who is likely a visionary. You want a lot of things and have always wanted a lot of things. And the second you got that thing, you were thinking about what you could create next. First, I want to tell you that that is not bad or wrong. That is not you being ungrateful. That is you being a visionary. That's the way visionary minds work. Okay, so if you've ever wondered why you can't just be grateful for what you have, you can, and you can also allow yourself to continue the vision, continue being who you are meant to be and who you're meant to become. You are here for a purpose, and that growth and that change and that up-leveling is all part of that purpose. The woman that you want to become already exists inside of you. You have everything you need inside of you to become that woman. You may need a little support getting there. You may need investors for your next big project. I'm not saying that, but you have what it takes to get where you want to go. And if you've been needing someone to tell you that, let this be your sign. You have what it takes. It might take more education. It might take more resources. It might take a little season of hustle. We don't like to live in hustle, remember, because that will burn us out and we don't need to be burned out. But you might need just a little season of hustle. You might need a little season of figuring things out, spending a little extra time and attention on this and on yourself. But you have everything inside of you that you need to work through all of that. And I want to be an example to you that your life can change dramatically. I want to be an example to you that your life can change dramatically when you stop fighting yourself. When you stop saying you can't have what you want. When you stop saying that, oh, must be what everybody else feels like, and you just keep pushing down your feelings or suffering through your feelings. You can get there. You can have what you want. And it can be, and it probably will be, more extraordinary than you ever thought it would be. And that doesn't mean it will be perfect. And it doesn't mean that you won't ever have a bad day again. Lord knows being a human is a practice, and moving through your life and moving through your emotions and moving through experiences is all part of that. But your life can be even more extraordinary than you can imagine by making the decision that you've been called to make. And I want you to know that I am here to support you. If you need my help, if you want my help, if you feel like there is some part of what I've said over the time that you've been listening to my videos or my podcasts or seeing my posts, if there's some part of it that has struck a chord with you, reach out for a private conversation. We'll talk about where you are, where you want to be, and how you can bridge the gap. And if it feels like a good fit for us to work together, then I'll make you an invitation to do so. Right now, my offerings are for one-on-one work in coming home. That is private one-on-one work where we really work at the root of anxiety, that bracing, tight, tense feeling, that emotional pressure, and that feeling of managing yourself over and over. And then I also have my lifetime group coaching program called Miracle Mode, where that is for the woman who wants to create more in her life, a beautiful amount of abundance financially, with visibility, with joy, love, connection, and to work with the subconscious mind so it doesn't stop you from having the things that you are trying to achieve. You can reach out to me for both of those things. We can have a conversation about it, and I'll lead you right where I feel like it would be a good fit. And you can go from there. I want to remind you, one decision can change everything. If you've been waiting to make it, make the decision. Let's face it, for most of us, the decision has already been made. Now you get to take the action to move toward the thing that you really want. You don't need to become someone else, and you don't need to feel like you have to change your personality. You get to become more of who you already are in the best way and enjoy moving toward your vision. One decision is all it takes. All right. Thank you so much for being here with me. Thank you so much for being here. If you've been following my journey, thank you to my clients, past, present, and future, for sharing this journey with me for the last 22 years. I can't wait to see what we do with the next years. All right. Have a beautiful week. I'll see you next time.